Hello, everyone. Welcome to LAN. And let's see, shall we go ahead and give it a few more minutes before we start introducing our speaker? We are so thrilled to have Rohit, but I think we'll just wait for everyone. Give it a couple more minutes. Yes, 7:02 is a good time.
People are still in the waiting room. Do we admit all?
Yes, please. Thank you. It's 7.
Admitted.
Hey, Meenakshi. Great to see you. Pramoda. So many known people. Rohit, you are popular.
Hi, Pramoda. Hi, Sneha. They're from my ICA.
Hey, Meenakshi.
Hey, hi Toby. Hi
Hello.
Meenakshi. Hello everyone.
Hey, Jason. Hey, Anthony.
Hey, what's happening?
All right, I think we can go ahead and welcome everyone today. Thank you for coming and joining yet one another evening with us, with everyone at LAN, and welcome to Rohit for making the time and staying up for us, UK time over the pond. Isn't it great? You didn't have to take a flight today. All right. I think Rohit needs no introduction, but I'll still go ahead and do the formalities today. So he's an enterprise agile coach amongst us, who does a lot of service in the community, spreading love and joy for agile and enables transformations by training, doing presentations. He, amongst his transformations, he has done various domains from financial and product-based organizations like Capgemini, HSBC, Equifax, TransUnion, and a very impressive list goes on. So without any further delay, we welcome you all and we hand over to Rohit to bring us impact today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome, Rohit.
Thanks, everyone. So I'm going to keep it short. It's not going to be a long monologue. But before I start that, and I share my screen, I want to ask a question, and you guys can respond back in the chat. So what do you think is meant by the word agile? There's no right or wrong answer. Just type in what do you think is meant by the word agile. Okay. Meanwhile, I'm going to share my screen. Inspect and adapt. Okay. What else? Trust environment, adaptive, responsive, mindset. What else? Intentional. Wow. Okay. Sense and respond, a set of principles created by experienced individuals who use empiricism, proactive, fast and adaptable, mindset and philosophy. Okay. Pretty much everything what agile, everyone has their own way of defining agile. And hello, just joined. Okay. I asked, what do you think is meant by the word agile? That was my question. So so what I was trying to refer here was, each one of us has our own definition of agile, and we live by it. And today in today's session, I've shared my screen. I'm not I'm not going to look at the chat. So throughout the session, feel free to put in your questions, and at the end, we'll have about 10-15 minutes for responding to the questions. So what am I doing here? We're going to talk about starting with an understanding of what really means by being agile and what really means by doing agile. And you would have heard this term, we are doing agile, we're not being agile. We'll start with that. And then, over the period of my, working as an agile coach, I started documenting what has worked for me as a coach in transformation, what has not worked, what am I learning. So I came up with few strategies that made me learn something about transformation. And I'm going to share that with you. I came up with about 20 strategies, and out of those, I'm going to share about 6 today with you guys. And over the slide, if you see different numbers, don't get confused. It's just I have hidden some of the slides which I'm not presenting today. So throughout the session, I'm going to talk about strategies which will help you be agile rather than do agile. Some thinking patterns, some leadership patterns, some strategies, some behavioral patterns, and all that stuff. Some examples and experiences that I have seen. So that's the plan for today. That's the agenda for today. I'll keep it about 30-45 minutes of my monologue. So who am I? As soon as I get hold of my slides. Yeah, so who am I? So this is me, my wall of badges. I'm a certified enterprise coach and a team coach from Scrum Alliance, and a lot of certifications there. I am an IC Agile trainer. I recently became an IC Agile coaching expert. I teach about team level coaching and enterprise level coaching. I'm also a associate certified coach from ICF, and it's just my journey. I did not start my journey to get badges, but it has eventually come up. I've got them. Right. So that's me. Feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn if you want to chat with me after the session. I generally respond, but yeah, feel free. So you all came with responses about what means by agile. What do you think? So let's see. If I just quickly, you quickly search for agile on Google it. It just says it's an ability to move quickly and easy. Simple, right? Nothing more than that. The word agile means simply, quickly, and easily, right? And if you think about it, we all are agile in certain way, and in our own best way, we are agile in certain scenarios. We do some house projects, we are very agile, right? We don't know what's going to happen, and we make decisions. But we take ourselves in an organization, we take ourselves in our offices, our agility goes down. Our thought process is about what should we do? How should we react? How can we be quick? How can we do it easy? It all changes. Our agility at our own space, where we feel committed with, we feel owner of and accountable. It changes when we go in an organization where we feel constrained with organizational culture, we feel constrained with systemic concerns, and our agility goes down. So being agile, we all are agile, but because of different constraints, our agility differs in different scenarios. If I look at what agile means in software development, I've just taken it from a book, and I don't have to invent the wheel again, right? So I've just taken this, which talks about, agile is an attitude to deliver business value to customer using common sense approach, right? There are times when we make our lives more complex, where we could have just thought of something easy, simple, and moved on, tried something and done it quicker way. But when I was thinking about this, when I read this sentence, I was like, when I joined fresh out of my engineering, I joined an IT firm. I never knew this, there was a process of estimation, there was a process of timeline, there was I had to create some kind of documentation, I had to present it, I had to go for, getting sign-offs, approvals, and budgeting, cost, and all that stuff, right? I never knew about that. But that common sense went away when all these processes and, systemic culture, organizational culture came, made me to work like they wanted me to work. So the definition says agile is not a practice, it's a quality of an organization and its people. Okay, it's to be adaptive, responsive, continuously learning and evolving, right? To be agile does not mean delivering faster. Agile does not mean fewer defects or higher quality. Agile does not mean higher productivity. And if you read this, many people will have, many leaders and within an organization will have concerns like that. What are you saying? We thought agile means delivering faster. This is where the outcome versus output focus comes into picture. What do you want to achieve? What's your goal? Agile simply means being agile, the ability to move with quick and easy grace, to be nimble and adaptable, to embrace change and become masters of change, to compete through adaptability by being able to change faster and cheaper than your competition can. Perhaps faster delivery and higher quality will be achieved with an agile method, right? So that's an outcome. It will happen, right? The output will make you agile. But if you focus on becoming, adaptive, responsive to change, that makes you more agile. So that's the definition basically in agile in software development, right? And let's see, I've taken this from how do we define agile, being agile versus doing agile. This is this was created by Dr. Ahmed Sidki. So he created this picture where he says agile starts with a mindset, a thought process of how things can be done better, how things can be done quicker and easily, right? This mindset is described by 4 values defined in Agile Manifesto, defined by 12 Agile principles, again in Agile Manifesto. And these values and principles are achieved by many practices. It can be any. There's, you can pick any practice and try to achieve these principles. Now, the mindset is least visible, but the most powerful stuff. But what is, if you look, if you work in an organization, and many of my engagements, I've seen people, for organizations, leaders focusing more on practices. Oh, we need a tool. Now, I was working in an organization where the teams used to have whiteboards pre-COVID, right? And suddenly someone, a new consultant came in and said, you know what? We should, we are not getting metrics. We need to get some kind of tooling system in, and they got some tools. I won't name the tool. And the focus was, oh, we're going to implement this tool without even asking or without even changing the mindset of people of why do we need a tool. The focus was on the practice, to put this practice into picture. So if you're focusing more on practices, you're doing agile. But if you're focusing more on the left hand side, where you're focusing on empowering people to make decisions, empowering people to decide what kind of practices they would need to achieve these values and principles, that's being agile. Now, I've experienced organizations just doing or following practices, teams following practices. I've been in organizations where I've joined and I've asked, you guys are doing Scrum. What made you choose that? Like, nobody, we didn't have a choice. We were told to do Scrum. Like, okay, what would you like to do now? Now, Scrum's not working for us. What do you want to do? What problems do you have? So, if you're still focusing on practices, just trying to bring, and there might be times when you have to suggest practices where the teams are not able to find a way out. That's all right, because then you're offering, right? And there's a difference between offering and there's difference between pushing, right? You push practices, that's not going to work out. That's right, doing agile. So if your organization, if your team are doing things just because you have told them, and or you are just made them do it, you're focusing more on doing agile. Whereas if you're empowering people to come up with ideas, come up with practices that can help them, that's being agile. So time for retrospect and see where are your focus, where are your organization's focus, right? Now, based on this, my next 6 strategies I'm going to talk about will be focusing on how we can bring in more being agile focus, more on the left hand side. Now, the thing is, these strategies has worked for me, might not work for others. So and these are very standard. Some of them are really standard, like, yeah, this should be there, right? So and that's where our common sense goes away, where people stop, start bringing in complex concepts rather than thinking about simple and common sense concepts. So the strategies that I'm going to share is some are standard, some are common, basic stuff. And if you feel, Rohit, it's not going to work for me, it's not the right strategy, it's all right. Let me know. All right. The first strategy, okay, that's gonna, that's the basic stuff. Have a purpose, have a transformation goal, have a transformation purpose for it. Why are we really having this transformation? What is driving this transformation? An organizational why, a team level why, a product level why. Starting with the why, right? One of the biggest anti-pattern that I've observed in walking in an organization, asking what's the transformation goal, and that's some people and the leadership say, oh, this is the purpose, and you go down at the team level, you ask the team leads, you ask the team, what do you think is the purpose of transformation, and they give you, a vague answer. We don't know, right? So a quick way I always try to do is, if I'm working with the leadership, asking them, okay, this is a post-it for you. Write down what do you think is the purpose of the transformation. Many of times, or most of the time, I've not got a common answer. The thing is, if you have something, then you can use tools like transformation canvases, helping the leadership team, build a transformation purpose, and then share it across the organization. That's shares a purpose and helps everyone align to some specific goal. One another anti-pattern that I've observed, which is the purpose of transformation is to be agile, and that's where transformation starts failing, because everyone, if you go to individuals and say, oh, you need to be more agile, you need to be agile. I, as a human being, I'm trying my best to be as agile based on my capabilities. And someone comes to me and tells me, oh, you need to be more agile. Like, I'll be more scared right now. Like, why do I need to be more agile? I'm trying my best. So, the purpose is agile is not the goal. Agile is a vehicle to achieve the goal, right? And that's where our mindset, or the leadership mindset, who thinks about agile as a goal, and you will see in an organization, and I've observed, when agile becomes a goal, teams will start doing Scrum. They will start doing all those events, and they are doing it for the sake of doing it. And then they say, okay, we have achieved agility. We are agile. Now what? What should we do now? We have achieved the goal, right? Then there's no moving forward from there. And that's where transformation starts becoming stagnant, and we start talking about transformations failing. So that's come up with a purpose, help organizations, help leaders come up with a purpose. If there is no purpose, ask why. Why are we really doing transformation? Right. The next strategy that I wanted to talk about was having leaders championing the purpose, right? Many times we can't, if the leaders are not behind a purpose or behind the purpose, people start losing faith in what's going on. If leaders starts questioning a purpose, of an organizational transformation, who's going to believe them? Why are we doing this? And when the leaders are there supporting the purpose, they are walking their dog, they are eating their dog food, they are showing their way. I've seen organizations where they say, oh, we need to learn. We need to get the people to learn and continuously improve. And it's like, okay, the team will learn. What about you? What are you doing? It's like leaders don't have time to learn. So in an organization where I was, doing this consulting, the leaders wanted the teams to learn continuously, and the way they did that was showcasing that they are also learning. They started talking about, in the town halls, they talk about the podcast that they are listening to, the books that they are reading, and then that changed the way people talked about continuous improvement. It made everyone in the organization feel like, yes, it's continuous improvement, and learning is part of the work, right? So leaders behind a purpose and championing a purpose really drives a behavior within the organization. If that's not happening, anti-patterns, leaders are just doing a command and control in this way, and that's just fun. That's where people start feeling, should we even try when the leaders are not trying? Okay, so there are a few things that the leaders have, and I've seen in organizations where leaders are like, okay, we'll change everything, we'll reorganize the structure, org structure's changed, and I've joined in and said, okay, what's changed? Okay, this guy was called project manager, now he's agile project manager. It's like every role, oh, agile team lead, agile scrum master, agile leader. And one thing that you can try and ask, okay, what has changed for you? What are you doing differently after your name or role has changed? And most of the time I've got this, we're doing the same thing, right? So leaders championing the purpose will focus more on outcomes, more on making an impact, making a sticky enabling change, and that's where transformation will keep moving forward. There's also one aspect of leaders. Leaders breed leaders. Leaders will make sure that they are mentoring new leaders within the organization. They are not just that there as a bottleneck, like, oh, I'll be always here. They are breeding new leaders as well. And that's the culture you will see, where people are striving to excel because they are seeing opportunity, right? So that's the second strategy. The third strategy I wanted to talk about, don't look at the number, I'm skipping third and fourth and moving on to the fifth, which is called alignment within the organization. Now, this is where organizations, where leaders have something thought, and they're thought of something. They think this kind of organizational transformation will bring success to the organization, but that alignment, that thought process has not passed on to the teams. Many organizations have just thought, okay, transformation is just for the IT team. The others don't have to change. The governance does not have to change. Budgeting does not have to change. Finance does not have to change. Sales does not have to change. And that's where the alignment breaks, right? IT is not a silo part of an organization. And that's where everyone within the organization has to align, has to understand that that transformation is for everyone. And they all have to look at how they have to evolve, right? Defining the new normal, where they want to be, what's that transformation or the new normal that has to happen for everyone within the organization. When you co-create, it leads to I see, I own it, right? One of the organizations that I was working with, when we went in it 1 week workshop where we said, okay, we'll break down everything, we'll try to understand what we need to do. It was a project-based organization. We defined products, we defined what product goals are, product boundaries are, dependencies and all that stuff, roles required for it. And basically we realigned everyone, and we the most important part of the organization took a break and focused on it. And it was not just the leaders, and we called in the team members, and they created how they can be part of this transformation. 1 week focusing on how the organizational structure should align to the to the bigger goal really helped us. Now there are different techniques or different practices that are used. OKRs, objective key results, seen organizations using that to align organization goals to product level goals, to team level goals, and sometimes at individual level. Now, so it works, but in a big organization might not work, because it's tough to come down. Now I've worked with organizations of 500 to 600 people, where it's OKR starts at organization, product, and then it stops, because going below there, it becomes really tough. And there are organizations who have gone down to the product to team levels as well. That's okay. And I've tried using product vision, product goals, planning to the horizons, some practices that align organization to certain goals. So there are different techniques that can be tried to bring that alignment. Now, the next one, how am I doing the time? Yep, good. Fourth one I want to talk about is slowing down to speed up. And this is a key. This is a conflicting statement at times. And I've worked with organizations where slowing down is not an option. The belief that everyone should be busy makes everyone focus on just work rather than improvement. Too many balls in there doesn't mean that we are making progress. We are just slowing us down by bringing more complexity and dependency to the work. And that's where one of the Agile principles talks about building sustainable pace. Now I've worked one of the transformation I was working, the way it worked was, one member of the team, they don't have anything to anywhere in the organization, their manager will find work for them. So and the mindset within the organization was everyone was work focused, right? There was no commitment towards particular goal. So stop being busy. If you see teams just doing things just for the sake of showing management, and again, it's an organizational culture where leaders are driving this kind of behavior, where they want people to be busy. and not focus on delivering value or delivery outcome. And people doing multitasking, it's a false belief. It makes us false belief that too many things are progressing, and that's a no, that's an indicator where we should say, oh, why there are so many things in progress, why, how can we limit work in progress? You can start building transparency about how much how much work is progressing, how many, again, based on what do you need. Transparency, making flow visible, something that you can try. And there are different techniques to do that. You can build boards, use tools wisely. Don't use it for the sake of using it. Again, encourage encourage challenging, build an environment where people can challenge back, right, and speak up and share, oh, why are we working on so many things, what can we stop, what can we let go. And this behavior, being busy, drives non-innovation. You are not helping helping teams to do innovation or run experiments or learn, right? There are no celebration time, there's no reflection time. You can try some different concepts of buddy system, hackathon. These are simple stuff, which can help slowing down. But again, one of as I said, in this organization that I was working, slowing down meant people are stepping down on the gas, and it meant they are just having fun, right? Having fun is not bad thing, right? That's the leadership. The leaders that I was working with, they thought having fun during work hours is a bad thing, right? And I like, why not? Having fun brings more innovation, creativeness. If you have not seen marshmallow, spaghetti marshmallow, fun is what brings innovation, creativity. And the indicators that I showed them was, how much innovation your team is doing. They are busy with so many things. They must be delivering lots, right? They are not delivering faster. They are not delivering lots. They are not doing your innovation. And it's not the team who is doing it. It's how you are giving or commanding the team, right? So slowing down to speed up is one another strategy. The next one that I wanted to talk about was organic scaling. Now, many a times we scale, we have organizations which will have multiple teams beyond one, and every organization these days are talking about scaling up, right? Bringing more teams. That's how scaling works for them. Now, the pictures that I put up there is the island of Melanesia. It's cargo cult culture, where we, during Second World War, this island was being used by armies to dump goods, and they shared it with the villagers there. And when the war was over, they left. And after that, the villagers believed if they create this kind of wooden stuff, replicate this, they will start getting those things back, right? This cargo cult culture is basically focusing short-sightedness rather than looking at the bigger picture of what are the things that lead to something, right? And organizations that I've been working, and multiple of them, they pick up a framework, and many a times Spotify model. I've walked into an organization, they said, oh, we are implementing Spotify model. And like, why are you doing that? You're not Spotify. And the problem is, all they are being sold as well, right? Consultants sell that Spotify model will work for you. What they do is, in every organization I've gone, many of the organizations that I've gone, they put this picture that Henrik Niebuhr used in one of his article in 2015-16, saying, oh, this is what Spotify is right now, chapters, guilds, tribes, and all this stuff. And they take this picture and they say, oh, it will work in my organization as well. This is very jazzy picture. But in that same article, he mentions this is the current state of Spotify, and we are continuously changing. Spotify does not support Spotify model. What else do you need to know, right? And Spotify, when they came up with this kind of model, this kind of structure, they were a startup. They were, they were a small team building something from scratch. Now I've seen organizations who are big banks. They have legacy codes, legacy applications, right? And they are trying to, and it's like putting plasters on their problem. They have created this Spotify structure, but they don't know how to progress, and then they are trying to put plasters on the problem. They don't understand the problem first, right? So when Spotify model was designed, it was designed to provide engineering empowerment so that they can deliver faster, quicker, and meet the organization vision. That was their goal. But in an in a big bank or in a regulatory industry, it's not possible. And then rather than understanding the problem that you have to solve, you're trying to put a solution that will fit a problem that you don't know of, right? When you have to do an organic scaling, the thing that I've tried is to understand what are the needs, right? What do you need to scale up? Why do you really need to scale up? What kind of dependencies do you have? And again, workshops, you can start planning it out. Visualization is one key technique. Visualizing what's happening, right? How can you break it down? Now, scaling does not mean adding new teams. Scaling means breaking down the big chunk of your organization into smaller chunk and see how you can scale up that collaboration between that smaller chunks, right? And that's it. There's a wrong concept that, oh, we have 10 teams now, we have to have 20 teams to scale up. You have to scale down to scale up. That's the key concept. Scale down your work and then see how you can bring that dependency and help that evolve, help your teams working together, and then scale up. That's organic scaling. Understanding your problems first and then trying to find a solution. Don't fit a solution to a problem that you don't know. Otherwise, you're gonna keep adding or putting plasters on top of it, and then trying to see, oh, will make Spotify work. You'll keep bringing in new consultants, and then they'll keep saying, oh, this is not working because of this. Oh, the previous consultant said that. And organizations keep moving in the transformation, saying, "Oh, we failed." So implementing Spotify or Safe, if that's the goal, all the best. So the last one that I wanted to talk about was having fun, right? This is a journey. Transformation is a journey, and over the you will and the strategies that I've shared, the stories that I've shared. It's not all the time that I've got engagement with the leadership and they said, oh yes, Rohit, I like your idea, let's do this. There are times when you are not heard. There are times when you don't feel you're being part of a journey or you're being valued. It's part and parcel. Be kind to yourselves to understand, you can help and support someone, right? Having fun and start a movement. So to demonstrate that, I want to share a video with you guys. Let me bring this up. It's a short 2 minutes video.
If you've learned,
let me know if you are not able to hear the audio. All right, I'm going to start this video.
A lot about leadership and making a movement, then let's watch a movement happen start to finish in under 3 minutes and dissect some lessons. First, of course, a leader needs the guts to stand alone and look ridiculous. But what he's doing is so simple, it's almost instructional. This is key. You must be easy to follow. Now here comes the first follower with a crucial role. He publicly shows everyone else how to follow. Notice how the leader embraces him as an equal. So it's not about the leader anymore. It's about them, plural. Notice how he's calling to his friends to join in. See, it takes guts to be a first follower. You stand out and you brave ridicule yourself. Being a first follower is an underappreciated form of leadership. The first follower transforms a lone nut into a leader. If the leader is the flint, the first follower is the spark that really makes the fire. Now here's the second follower. This is a turning point. It's proof the first has done well. Now it's not a lone nut and it's not two nuts. 3 is a crowd and a crowd is news. A movement must be public. Make sure outsiders see more than just the leader. Everyone needs to see the followers because new followers emulate followers, not the leader. Now here come 2 more people, then 3 more immediately. Now we've got momentum. This is the tipping point, and now we have a movement. As more people jump in, it's no longer risky. If they were on the fence before, there's no reason not to join in now. They won't stand out, they won't be ridiculed, and they will be part of the in crowd if they hurry. And over the next minute, you'll see the rest who prefer to stay part of the crowd, because eventually they'd be ridiculed for not joining. And ladies and gentlemen, that is how a movement is made. So let's recap what we've learned. If you are a version of the shirtless dancing guy, all alone, remember the importance of nurturing your first few followers as equals, making everything clearly about the movement, not you. Be public, be easy to follow. But the biggest lesson here, did you catch it? Leadership is overglorified. Yes, it started with the shirtless guy, and he'll get all the credit, but you saw what really happened. It was the first follower that transformed a lone nut into a leader. There's no movement without the first follower. See, we're told that we all need to be leaders, but that would be really ineffective. The best way to make a movement, if you really care, is to courageously follow and show others how to follow. When you find a lone nut doing something great, have the guts to be the first person to stand up and join in.
And then let me get back to the slides. Now, what did you get out of this, right? So we don't have to be the one finding solution or helping everyone. You know, the idea of that first follower. How many times have you been the first follower, right? It's tough. When I've seen team members, you know, sharing something and saying, "Oh, now I'm going to set up a session. I'm going to have, you know, run a session, share something." Would anyone like? And I don't see anyone jumping up and like, "Yes, I would." Even if I can't make any difference, I say, I'll be your first follower. I can join, right? And transformation requires to make this movement, right? So if we don't have, there are times when, as coaches, we at times start challenging other coaches as well. Like, oh, my idea is better than yours. There are times when you don't have to come up with ideas. There are times when you just have to be that first follower, and build that safety and trust that, you know, ideas is not just for you to generate. You know, that builds resiliency, that builds that enables that stickiness within an organization. So have fun, you know, have fun trying something new. Have that growth mindset. You know, try some new ideas. Don't be scared. And as a coach, that's a very key thing to do, right? You know, if you are not following any new idea, or if you're not being that first follower, how do you expect anyone to be your first follower when you come up with a new idea? And be kind to yourself in this journey, because there would be successes, there would be new learnings, there might be failures, there might be times when you're not being heard. So I'll leave you with this last few slides. This is the last Calvin and Hobbes comic strip, which talks about, you know, it's basically transformation is exploration. You know, nobody has a crystal ball to show how your action will impact, right? So it's an exploratory journey, and if you are walking into this journey or going in this journey scared, or you know, not confident, you know, you have to adjust. You have to, you know, take that first few steps, adjust, course correct. That's being agile, right? So go out, explore, try new ideas, be that first follower, be that shirtless dancing guy, whatever you want to be. And try. Without trying, you know, there is no success. And I'll leave you with this few books that has helped me in my journey. There are more, but I'm sharing 8 of those books that that has really helped me in this journey. And with that, right on time, I am okay to take questions, and I'll stop sharing.
Thank you for a great presentation. At this time, we'll open up for Q&A.
Andrew, you're not audible. Sorry.
Can you hear me now?
I can now. Yeah, much better.
So at this time, we'll open up for Q&A.
So your voice is really cracking up. Should I look in the chat for questions?
I think, yeah, I have a question. I can ask a question there.
Yeah, please.
Go for it.
So,
Sorry.
Rohit, I have a question for you, right? It's the video is good, right, and motivating, but unfortunately, in a real place, it's not like this. So, can you maybe bring your own example when you start a movement in a workplace, say like maybe a big enterprise company?
Mhm. So again, depends on scenario to scenario. Now it can be
Just your
as small.
example, right? Just your own example.
Yeah, I'm going to give my example. So, a movement can be at a team level, a movement can be at an organization level. So team level, supporting team ideas, being that first follower, or helping build, coming up with ideas and, building that safe space, working with the leaders, in my engagements, helping organizations, leaders to understand how can we let the teams come up with some new experiments, innovation, running hackathons, running design, design concepts and spikes. That starts a movement, right? Let me give you an example where we were working to build a learning organization. The idea was, how do we get team members of one product team to share ideas and concepts with other product teams, rather than just having ideas within one or experiments being run in one product team. The idea was, or the outcome we were expecting was cross-pollination of ideas. Now we started with the concept of the mental models that the leaders had. Oh, we are asking everyone to do 10% of the time to work on sprint and 10% on learning. But at the ground level, the product owners never wanted 10% time to go out. Right? We need to focus on delivery. Every hour should be on delivery. But one of the key issue that the leaders had was the innovation was going down. The competitors were taking a lead, and the focus was to how do we get this innovation brought in, because we are getting the teams to focus on some learning as well, right? So the mental model was wrong. The leaders thought there was a very good problem to be solved. So we came up with ideas of small ideas. We started with communities of interest. We started a lot of, and again, it was not me who started it. We as a team, as a leadership, we started building, ideas of how we can do that. One of the good concept was communities of interest. The idea was, how do we build people up with T-shape, right? Everyone talks about T-shape. Not everyone is willing to learn new technology or different technology. Everyone would be stressed out reality, right? But the idea was, we'll build a community of interest where people would like to learn something. You don't have to use it, you just have to learn. And we started that when we started seeing people showing interest. And in reality, we started having product management, letting go of 10%. That 10% became one day, one person. And they started coming back and started teaching within the team. And then that, started growing. One product team having one day off, talking about new things, brought new other product teams to start, taking part. And we started a movement, start small. It can be from one team, but again, if you see, there are multiple aspects. The leaders taking part, the goal was known, the problem was known, and we all worked together to start a movement, right? But it started with a problem, first of all.
Mhm.
Okay, so to summarize, so you discovered this problem, right, and work with leaders, how they can support teams to solve the problems, right? And teams basically figure out, just given a time, allocated time, so they can work on a problem and solve the problems. But leaders supported this 10%, whatever it is, one day in the
It went
spring.
beyond 10%.
Right.
It was not just
I understand.
10%.
I'm just summarizing
Yeah.
the outcomes. Okay, thank you. That works. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you for that question. So I see some hands raised up. Let's go with Anthony next. I don't know the sequence in which was raised, but let's go with Anthony and then followed by Owais. Please go ahead and ask your question.
Oasis had his hand up first, so why don't we let him go?
Oh,
and
okay,
then I'll
sorry, I
open
didn't know the
call.
sequence. Okay. Owais, you go
that's
ahead,
all right.
sir.
Thanks, fellas. Excellent presentation. Thank you, Rohit, for sharing your thoughts and the transformation strategies. I've got a question. As we all know that, and I'm working for a state government here in Sydney. At times, we have been asked as Agile coaches, this question is being asked to us that, look, what is the KPI? What is the acceptance criteria for your engagement with a particular team looks like? Or what's your exit strategy looks like? When would you actually disengage, yourself as a coach? And it's funny because the paradigm of coaching is just gonna create an outcome, and then based on the outcome you can exit, having an end rather than means to an end. So I just want to ask, how to handle these kind of scenarios where you have been asked these questions and what to answer. Of course, if I answer straight away that look, it's a journey, it's not an end, it's a means to an end, then it's not gonna be accepted. So customer satisfaction indexes, net promoter scores, these are all buzzwords that are, but practically speaking, in a state government operating model, what would you advise that I can convince them that look, I have to get out of a team at this point in time if this is achieved? And sorry for
No,
this
no, it's
question.
not. It's a good, correct question. Everyone wants, every organization, every leader wants, if they are investing on something, they want to see some outcome coming out of it. And I'm not sure how different is it with the state organizations. I can't call out what you need to do in the state organization. What I have done is, again, as consultants, when we join an organization, they want to see, oh, how would we measure your impact? How can we know that we are working with product teams? How are they changing? What's the improvement? There are quantitative changes, there are qualitative changes. Now, what we do is, or what I do along with the other coaches, is to build a coaching strategy. What are we going to focus on? What outcome would what will come out of it? Basically, a coaching contract with the transformation lead most of the times, and making it together, creating it together. Now, there are metrics that we decide, and again, I've worked in different organizations. There are different things that they would like to measure. Never gone with velocity, don't go with that. Okay. So build this contract, and it's not a legal contract, it's a contract with how are you going to engage with the team, how are you going to work with the team together, what are the changes that you would focus on. Now, I've also used different kinds of maturity assessment that can be a part of your contract, saying we are going to start with the maturity assessments. And I've worked in consultancies where we have homegrown assessments, and then there are organizations where we have used some online or available assessments. Now, that can be also your point of reference, or this is where we will focus, this is where you will see impact, this is where you will change, and then the change will help you measure the impact of your coaching. There are a few things you can try, and there are a lot of good articles available of how agile coaching impact are being measured. So up to you, but I like to build it together rather than saying, oh, this is I'll come here and I will do this, and this is the impact you should see. It's not one and that, not single.
Great points. Thank you, Rohit, for answering that.
Thank you.
Anthony, you want to go next?
Yes, thank you. Thanks for the talk, Rohit. So forgive me because this question might be a little bit more philosophical and less pragmatic, but something in your talk for some reason sparked in me this question. And I was wondering what your thought on it is this. I wonder if the term agile is actually a semantically poor term, because it ends up focusing on the last point of the manifesto, which is the responding to change. And I wonder if we really need to be more focused on the first bullet point as a foundational point of individuals and interactions, and things will spawn from there.
Again, I've seen organizations who even don't consider any kind of agile values. Individuals, Jira is Jira. This is where you work, and we don't talk to others without raising a ticket. Like, guys, talk to each other. So again, there's no right or wrong which value should be focused more on. All right, an organization who is focusing on only one value, you would start saying, they are not making progress, because the other values are also really important. If you're just responding to change, it doesn't mean you're just changing plans every time, right? There has to be some kind of sustainable pace. That's one of the principles, right? So suddenly one day, it doesn't mean, responding to change doesn't mean that the product owner is so finicky. Today, this is my priority. Next day, the other priority. That's not responding to change. That's lack of, visibility, lack of goal, lack of planning, right? So that's where the understanding should be. All the values go hand in hand, right? If you focus on one, you're not going to go far. That's my thought process.
So if I may, you don't think that there was a deliberate choice to choose that as the first principle, as a potential foundation for the other items to spawn off of?
No idea. But I like all those four values. The one thing that I always see when I start my engagement with any team or product teams, I like to observe what kind of values are they demonstrating, and all those four values. If you know, if that's not visible, I'm not sure what was the thought process behind putting it in that sequence. So I'm not very sure on my answer there. Sorry.
Okay. Are there any other questions anybody has? You want to ask Rohit?
Sorry, I've not seen the chat. So if you have that, any
I'm
question,
monitoring the chat.
Okay.
I'm good. I also prompted people to ask questions. And if we don't ask questions, Rohit is going to fall asleep. It's what, 2 o'clock in the morning?
No, it's
1 o'clock.
10 minutes to 1 now.
Okay, 10 minutes to 1. Okay.
That was quick. Either you guys have dozed off.
I mean, I got 12 other questions if you want. I'm kidding.
I would have logged off as soon as you started the next one. Nice. No, I'm just
So maybe I'll ask a question, and in the meantime, others can probably think of a question. So from a transformation perspective, right? So when you're going into an organization, and the whole concept of shuhari, a lot of times I've seen coaches go into a transformation, and they expect a certain level of maturity, and feel that the people who are chosen to kind of lead, right? And I'm probably going to piggyback on your spring break dance video, is that the first 2 or 3 people who join the transformation, they expect them to lead, but that seldom happens, right? So the question that I want to lead towards is, consultants are brought in from a perspective that they are brought in to become obsolete. Their goal is to become obsolete. Their goal is to kind of transfer the knowledge, so that the team, the ambassadors of change that they create, they kind of sustain the transformation going forward. How do you make that happen, right? What are some of the tips you can share with us so that you become good at actually transferring the knowledge? Because most of the time I've seen that doesn't happen. They keep on extending the contract, and transformation slows down after some time.
how consulting work, isn't it, Toby?
Yeah.
So one of the key pillars of transformation is not just bringing in new ideas, but also enabling and empowering. So one of the strategy that I have not talked about is building a transformation team, where when I called out leaders breed leaders, coaches breed help or build a community, right? So if you have leadership where leaders are thinking of breeding leaders, they you see they will drive the consulting or consultancy to build that environment where you are not just supporting transformation, but also enabling one. Some contracts that I've worked, they call out building the coaching competency within the organization, which requires the way I've done it is starting with an assessment. So I use the agile coaching growth wheel, helping the agile coaches to understand what they want to learn. And then there are times when they don't know about certain topics, so then you have to help them by teaching them. You might have to mentor them where you go and observe their facilitation, observe their coaching, team coaching, and provide them the feedback. And there are times when you have to coach them. So again, based on your contract, and that's what I've seen. I've not been a consultant for a very long time, but I've mostly done more permanent coaching as a permanent employee. And I've seen a lot of difference where as permanent employee I'm more invested. As consultant, it's more driven from, oh, you have a contract, this is what you're supposed to do. And the clients also want to do like the way they take the contract as a, this is the Bible, this is what you have to follow. So they are in consulting world, again it's a different world, and I'm learning something new as a consultant as well. But my experience as a permanent coach was really different, where I was really invested in building that competency within, because I did not have an end time. right? So I was with the organization and I was building it from inside. So again,
Yeah.
everyone has a different
Absolutely.
experience.
Yeah, thank you for answering that. Yeah, and there are different perspectives, and I'm sure consultants do it a certain way, and if you're an embedded coach, you do it a different way. But thank you for answering the question, Rohit. Are there any other questions? If not, we could call it an event. All right. So thank
Yeah,
you
I have a
so much.
question. Tony, I have a question for
Okay, please go ahead.
quick question. This is Iqbal. So we got your presentation, and this was very good. Thanks for giving us this great presentation. Quick question, like if you have to say that these are the gauge, these are the metrics that okay, this team is being agile. What are those 5, 6?
Metrics for a team. Okay. If you would have asked me a question like this, 6, 7 years back, I would say velocity, throughput, lead time, cycle time. These days, I would say, let's work with the team. Let us understand along with the team what metrics would they need to understand they are agile, right? And if they don't understand, how can I help them understand and help them find out the right metrics for them, right? So I don't know. Every team has their own way of working. If they are using Scrum, they might use something different. If they're using Kanban, they might be using something different. So identify the problem first. Start with the problem. PDCA, right? So identify the problem and then try to help the team to understand how they can, use some kind of metrics to, if they say, oh, we want a DORA metrics, let's help them out. They find it, and this approach really helps because now they came up with this metric because they know the problem and they are gonna use it. But if I go and say, oh, you should use DORA metrics, or if you should use lead time and cycle time, they don't use it. They just create a dashboard and that's there. Nobody is looking at it, right? But if you turn it around and say, okay, we are here. What metrics would we like to use to help you improve and gauge where you are? And then help them. They might say, okay, we don't know how many releases are we doing, how good are our releases. Okay, for that there are a few metrics you can offer them, and then you'll find there's more commitment to use that. You don't have to then push those, doing agile to being agile. That's a big difference.
All right, so great question and an awesome response. So I think we have just 3 minutes left, so I'm going to go ahead and do the closing part. So thank you everyone for joining Loud and Agile Network. At this point, I do want to invite everyone to become a member of our growing and vibrant Agile community. We just started about 2.5 years ago. We are 1,000, almost 200 members, just shy of 6, and hopefully we'll get those 6 today. So fast growing, and every month we bring thought leaders, subject matter experts, authors, and agilists to come and share their presentations, their ideas and thoughts with us. Next month, we have, again, an amazing speaker coming from UK, Krishna Chodipalli. I know Krishna very well. He leads an agile organization called Leadership Tribe, and he's going to talk about a very interesting topic. And the topic is how bad metrics derail agile transformation. I'm going to repeat, how bad metrics derail agile transformation. So piggybacking on the very last question, so if you're curious to know more about metrics, please join us next month. It is going to be on June 9th, again from 7 to 8 p.m. The event is out there on Meetup, also on LinkedIn, and we look forward to seeing you. Thank you, Rohit, for an amazing, really, really nice presentation. If somebody just gets the deck from you, they're going to get like 8 pictures. So that's going to be interesting.
I like images more than words. So,
Absolutely.
words are here. Images
Yeah.
are, for your perspective. Thanks everyone for joining in. Hope everyone got something out of this. And if you still have some questions, feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. I might be able to help. If not, I'll say no. All right.
Thanks, everybody. Have a wonderful evening.
Bye, guys.
Thank you. Thank you, Rohit. Thank you, Rohit.